Morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I am Tamara Johnson Shealy. Good morning. It is another gloomy morning here in the ATL. I am the senior advocate of politics, beauty, and barber. I am the president of the Concerned Beauty and Barber Professionals, and we are joining you LIVE this Tuesday morning with an advocate update from around the country. We need to stay abreast of what's going on and what's happening in the beauty and barber industry, and we are your resource. So let me find where my trusty co-host is this morning. There she is. Good
Good morning. Good morning.
morning.
How are
How are
you?
you? I'm good. I'm good. It's a gloomy Tuesday morning here in Atlanta, but I'm doing pretty good.
Hey, that's all right. That's all right. I'm doing well. My daughter graduates from high school tomorrow, so I'm
Woo-hoo.
excited. It's been a journey, but we made it.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
Yes.
Amen. Good morning, Miss Tricia, one of our advocates right here in Georgia. Danielle, Pennsylvania. How is the industry there in PA?
Girl, how much time
I
do we have? How long is this
know.
live? Like for real, I could go on forever. No, it it's you
Oh.
know what, it's been interesting. To put it nicely, it's been very interesting. Some of our counties have reopened
Mhm.
as of was it Friday, June 5th. So we still have my county, which is Erie County, and quite a few other counties that are still under, I guess, a shutdown. They've been slowly opening businesses, but salons have not reopened in my county. And I apologize, I can't remember off the top of my head how many other counties are still closed. And even our state rep, I don't know if it's true or not, but what I read on in a particular Facebook group is that he even advised some salon owners to just reopen their salons and get back to work. Despite what Governor Wolf has indicated, I don't know. We still haven't received any updates from our state board. We're kind of just keeping up to date with our surrounding states, just kind of seeing what those requirements are. So we kind of feel like we're on our own up here. It's been very interesting. A
And
lot of people
it's,
are torn.
yeah, and it's to hear that there's a lot of professionals that might say, to hell with this license. If the license is my barrier to
Yes.
opening and getting back to work, people have to eat, they got to feed their families, and they have to survive. And especially when you have needs, you can't not work. And beauty and barber professionals that aren't allowed to work, and the license, and because they have a license, heard, and I'm not surprised to hear an official say this, to hell with the license and just start working.
Oh yes, we've had some areas where people, like I said, people are very torn because, I know even for myself, we've been closed since March 16th. So it's been the past few months that I've had to continue to pay the overhead on my salon space, and I'm not allowed to operate. So it's very frustrating. The only problem is that, there is a risk if you are a salon owner or hairstylist that if something was to happen, your insurance will not cover you, and you're in jeopardy of losing your license if you do decide to reopen before we are given the green light. I mean, some professionals have said, you know what, maybe I don't need a license,
Mhm.
but a lot of people are starting to notice how valuable the license is, and without it, I mean, it opens up a whole new can of worms.
Mhm. Mhm. We are essential. I don't even
Yes, we are.
redeem non-essential services. We are definitely essential, and it's going to be lawsuits everywhere. This is where I tell the industry that not only are we fighting these battles in the state house with policy and bills, but we're fighting this now. This is going to the courthouse. This
Oh yes.
court battles across this country about the fact that we were not able to open, we were not able to operate. This is going to be, and it is, to a certain degree, it has been unconstitutional. So
Absolutely.
we're in for a long battle, and
Oh yes.
if this virus returns, quote unquote, we're just going to be back at ground zero all over again. So
Oh yes.
we're professionals, we just have to stay abreast. We have to be united. We have to be organized. We have to be strategic. We have to do everything collectively now. No more can one state do something and another state.
Right.
We do now has to be across the country.
Absolutely.
Efforts with this organization, that's why efforts with this broadcast, that's why our efforts is so important, because if we don't get this right collectively, we're going to continue to see a state like yours, Danielle, not even be freaking open yet.
It's so divided, and I absolutely agree. I mean, I really hope that through this time, us beauty professionals really, like you said, we understand that there is power in numbers. There is so much more that we can accomplish when you have a united front compared to just a few individuals here, a few individuals here. We must come together, and I just wish that was more. More recognized, and even just really talked about, even in beauty schools, where we have to stick together. You are your own, almost your own entity once you graduate beauty school. So this is a great way and a great time to come together and fight for what we believe in. We are essential. We do matter, and people miss our services.
And need our services. I talk about
Yes.
mental health that comes along with what we do. We're healers in many ways.
Yes.
So they not only miss us, they need us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And a lot of us, we miss our clients as well. I've had several of my clients reach out. They've emailed. I've been sending out emails and newsletters just to stay current and to keep all of my people updated. And they really appreciate just that interaction. They miss us, just as much as we miss them, or being even back to work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
what's going on around the country with some of our other advocates. Let's see. We got Miss Linda. We're going to bring her in. Miss Linda, good morning.
Hi, how are you?
Hi.
Good morning.
good morning.
Miss Linda is right here in the great state of Georgia. How are you, Miss Linda? How
Doing good this morning.
Good.
We we are okay. We came back about 4 weeks, which was probably about 2 to 3 weeks after the governor said we could open them, but our mayor said, "Hey, kind of just stay home. If you can stay home, stay home." So some of the private salons went ahead and opened. I work for a corporation, so we've been back for about 4 weeks. And when you talk about state board and they have not put up things like she said for Pennsylvania, that's just absolutely unbelievable to me that the state hasn't put up any guideline. I think Georgia mapped out some pretty good guidelines. Some things are like questionable, but one of the things too that the company that I work for asked us to do, which we were doing it on our own anyway, was take the barber site class. If you haven't taken the barber site class, it has all of the universal precautions and everything else on it, and certification and great information that'll help you if you're trying to map out something for your salon. But as a manager, I like it. I'm actually sitting in my office across from the salon where we took out all of the waiting room chairs. And I love it. I love that. I love the fact. I love the control factor that it's given us with maintaining the clients. On the call yesterday, I spoke about it's going to be very hard when you're getting back into it if you have not been sanitation, disinfection, if you have not been cosmetology curriculum minded, it's going to be very hard. And I came out of education, so it's sanitize, 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 so it's kind of new to me. And I've been licensed for 34 years, but to others, it's not so new. There's little things that they don't really they really don't do anymore. So it's going to be a little hard, but it's systematic. It's systematic. Trying to keep a productive book is going to be easy for those who believe time is money. The ones who stack on stack on stack, they're going to find it very hard, because now they're going to have to utilize their time and make that productivity and get what they need in a shorter scale. We most of the salons in our area are probably operating either part-time or we
We're losing you, Linda.
limited hours to do what we need to do in it. Did I blank out?
Yeah, you came back.
Yeah, I think
Came
so.
back.
A call tried to come in and I and I
Oh,
did, and I
okay.
hit it. Yeah.
I'm like, wait, this
So
is
we're.
good.
Yeah, I was like, boom, yeah, go. But I was just saying that we're operating on a shorter scale of hours,
Mhm.
and it's forcing some people to do what they've never done, and other people the stylists just really enjoy because they have more control and of their chair. So we're doing okay. We're doing okay. We're keeping it. I had a nurse was in here this weekend, and she told me, she said, you know what, you guys doing better than some hospitals. And I was like, ooh, I said, thank you, but that's kind of scary, because we're because we're taking precaution from the front door all the way. We're double checking, we're watching out for each other, because it's the thing is too, you got to watch out for the person beside you, because the person beside you is going to affect you. So, it's definitely one team.
Mhm. Mhm. The salon culture, it sounds like you guys are kind of reinventing that. We lost that with a lot of these suites that have opened up and people are going into their
Right,
own space and doing their own thing. But sounds like
right.
this has done for where you are, and what you've done as a manager is really recreate and redefine the salon culture and what it means to work as a team. That's what I'm hearing.
Right. Right, right. Because I think the biggest opportunity for the survivors, the salon, the stylists, that the businesses that survive, is to prove to the community that you can trust us. We're take because we're treating everybody like they have COVID. You know,
Mhm.
everybody. I'm gonna treat you like I have it, and vice versa. So if we can get you to trust us, that's how we get you back into our chair, to know that, what, I can go there because I can trust them. I know that they're going to do the right things. And there's
Mhm.
businesses that now that I'm like, I can't go in there because I know they're not cleaning up. They weren't cleaning up before, so I know I can't go there. So it's going to be an opportunity to gain a people who believe in that you're going to take care of it.
Mhm. Consumer confidence. Those are the words.
Yes,
Consumer, like they're gonna
consumer confidence.
that confident that those of us that are back in the industry, that are back after this pandemic, we're the ones that are doing it right. So I applaud you, and I know you. I bet they can eat off the floor in there, like the old people say. Y'all
Okay.
are cleaning and cleaning and cleaning. So thank you, Linda, for all you're doing, and to
Thank
help
you.
with the integrity of our industry, and helping licensed professionals that you manage. So thank you, Linda. Thank you for being a part of this organization.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you. We'll talk soon. How is it going over in North Kakalaki, as we say down here in the South?
That is correct. North Carolina, it seems to be, I'm in a little bit of a bubble. I'm in the Raleigh area. And so we have a very growing area, a lot of people moving in every day. Still, every day, I've had clients selling their houses in less than 24 hours, even through the pandemic, which
Mm.
is insane. But it is a bubble. I know that does not represent all of North Carolina. So salons are open. We're in our third week. But some counties have chosen to remain closed. I know Durham is still closed. And so in the Raleigh-Durham area, since we're so close, what's been happening is people from Durham are coming over. They're not staying home. They're calling. We're open. They're calling to try to get in. So that's been interesting, because in my salon personally, I rent a nail department from a larger salon, and we focused on taking care of our current clients before allowing new clients. And I've seen a lot of that across the board in the nail industry for those of us that have studios or are smaller in size. I did kind of take a poll of the nail techs here in North Carolina. A lot of us are busy and open. Some have decided to not return just because of the lack of direction of where to go, resources. State board basically said, follow CDC and OSHA guidelines. There was nothing in black and white that said, this is what you have to do. So we looked at the states like Georgia, who's already open, and Tennessee. We looked at what those salons were doing for our boundaries to be set where we're working. Some salons are doing nothing out of the ordinary. Our salons, we've set up some of the guidelines, just like the doctor's offices, waiting in your car. We're taking temperatures. We're taking the extra time to clean. Everybody wears a mask. And we have had some combative clients who don't want to follow the guidelines, and that's interesting to handle.
Like, how did you handle that alone? I haven't heard that any stories like that. So how are y'all handling that?
Well, us, we have a sign on the door that says no mask, no entry. And we had a hair client who had screenshot the state board and said, there's no requirement here. And I know such and such salon isn't doing this. And we said, we're sorry, that is our personal requirement for our staff and our other client protection. If you want to come in, this is what you have to do. And if you don't want to come in, you're free to go. And you know, it's a hard choice to make, especially with a longtime client. But I had another nail tech that contacted me too, actually, that said the clients came in wearing masks, but once they were in the studio, they thought my loyalty and their loyalty meant they could take it off. And we're like, no, I have asthma. You're not taking that off. I'm not risking anything potentially being passed. So that's been a challenge that we didn't anticipate.
Wow. Like, I hadn't heard a story where a client didn't want to, you know, I would think that they would appreciate the fact that you were going above and beyond with your you know, keeping them safe, keeping yourself safe. And to hear somebody say, well, to hell with it, that's
right.
That's our story.
Yeah, I was surprised that we weren't the only ones, but businesses here are really divided on, you know, we had a lot of protests to reopen the state downtown, and we're close to the Capitol, and there's a lot of people that feel that the masks just aren't necessary and they should be able to come and go as they please, and, you know, no social distancing. And so that has been a little bit of a challenge when we set the boundaries that this is what we're requiring.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, we're gonna just, you know, I'm gonna take care. Like, if I was behind the chair, I would say I'm taking care of all of my clients, and we just have to stick to the rules. So, gosh, so thank you, Adrienne, for all you're doing, and thank you for being a part of this organization. And you know, the nail industry in California was literally kind of, they pointed the finger at the whole industry, like, this, you guys were the ones that started this.
Yeah. That was a bit of a shock for about a week. The message boards and I'm in were on fire. I mean, you know, 500 comments to the post, you know, and some of the editors of the magazines, they posted the letters that they sent to the governor in California. And even one of the mayors there, who has a large Asian culture, felt that he was, you know, targeted by the nail salon and the nail salon industry and the Vietnamese and Korean, and that they were kind of being blamed wrongly for that spread. And so he spoke up, and that was posted everywhere in the nail boards. So yeah, it was interesting because there's no way, especially at that time in California, it was wide open. You can't pinpoint a certain business or industry saying what was their fault.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's why we have escalating numbers. I mean, that's just not the case, especially in an industry that's supposed to be so clean.
Yeah, I was just wondering how they, like, I wanted to know specifically, how did you know? Like, what made this conclusion? That was a conclusive, you know, a solid statement. Like,
I haven't seen any follow-up. there has been no follow-up to that question, so I don't know.
Danielle?
That is unbelievable. I remember when that news report was circulating, and I immediately was upset because I didn't appreciate how just the nail salons were being held responsible as if there was no other way for this virus to spread. And there were other, I mean, California, and I don't live in California, but I stay abreast of the news, and I know for a fact there were other businesses that refused to close during the pandemic, where it was so bad, where people were being, arrested, they were shutting off electricity, power, water sources. And I just, I mean, some people may not have understood how that really demonized our industry, and it could make people second guess about getting these beauty services done when you can pick it up just as easily going to the grocery store, the ATM, wherever. Going to a family event. If someone's positive, you run that risk of catching it from that person. I didn't appreciate that at all. And I was so excited that there was people responded that, I seen some nail companies, like you said, I seen they had written open letters and they were fighting back. And I was excited about that because we have to fight back. We cannot stand and hide in the shadows. We have to fight for our industry, for our careers. We worked hard to get where we are.
I think it's interesting too, as I've watched some states open up and some states are still debating how to open up. There's some states where they're allowing hair services, but not nail services, or hair services, but not massage. I mean, if you're going to be within a foot to 3 feet of somebody, what difference does it make at that point? I know here, we, in my salon, we're small and we have 2 pedicure chairs and they're not 6 feet apart. So we decided we're on a scheduled rotation for pedicures so that we don't make any of our customers feel uncomfortable. But now they change, you can go ride in the golf cart all day long and go play golf and sit literally on top of each other in the golf cart, but we can't do 2 pedicures together.
Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
No, I believe
it's been.
I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry, there's a delay on my end. Sorry about that. I just wanted to add on as far as what you were saying. I believe in some states, if I'm not mistaken, New York, you're allowed to style hair, but you cannot use a blow dryer.
Right.
So that's been some talk in PA as well. Can we use a blow dryer?
The hairdressers that I work with are not blow drying. And that is, I guess it was on one of the CDC recommendations because of it being airborne and blow drying. And 2, the second thing on top of that was we just want to get people in and out. And so if we're not blow drying, we're also saving time on the haircuts, just getting them in and out. But some people are blow drying and then coming back going, well, this isn't right, or this isn't right. And so they're taking double time to go back through the hairstyles. So it's kind of hard to say, is that the right thing to do or not?
That's tricky because in my salon, the bulk of the services that we provide are blowouts. So it's like, what are we supposed to do? I can't send someone, if you're working with highly textured hair, you need a blow dryer to perform certain services. I don't know. I agree. I think it's going to work.
I get my hair done next Monday and I have thick hair and there's no way they're going to be able to send it out right if it's not blow dried.
Exactly.
So I totally get it. Like I have no idea what she's going to do, but it's been interesting too because of blow dry bars. I have no idea if they're even open. I haven't looked into that. I know that's a new trend with all the blow dry bars. So if the CDC recommends not blow drying, are they even in business?
That's a great question.
I think the CDC respectfully is still trying to figure it out because remember, they would say that the cloth mask didn't work and then all of a sudden now they're like, just wear a mask, anything, just put something, now that works. So I think they're still trying to figure it out. But this is where I feel like we can't allow them to write the narrative. They know science, but we know our industry, and we know don't know the intricacies of what it takes to provide a service. So being able to make a recommendation when you don't know specifically about these services is kind of just like you say, you can ride a golf cart, but you can't blow dry, you know.
Right. Right.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah. So it's
they're
been
still
interesting.
figuring it out. Well, thank you in North Carolina, Miss Adrian, for
Thank you.
to support the industry and all you do as a beauty professional. So thank you, and thank you for being a part of our organization and for all you just.
Thank you for having me.
I just love everybody in this organization. I'm just on 10 this morning about y'all.
Thank
All
you.
righty. Thank you,
Thank
Adrian.
you so much, Adrian. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, we have other advocates here this morning. Let's see who's here. Miss Jackie up in Ohio is here. Miss Jackie.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You gotta hold that phone still, Miss Jackie.
I know. It just fell right out my hand.
She excited too. See, I'm not
That's
the
right.
only
See,
one.
it's showtime.
So we opened up like 3 Fridays ago,
Mhm.
and just listening to you all, the different comments. Like I'm finding that there's a lot of new customers coming in. So with that, just trying to really take precaution and do the temperature check. They must have on a mask. I'm really excited to go to the salon today because I'm with the Ohio beauticians here. Glam Pro, I'm just going to shout out Glam Pro Chapter 14. And they did a giveaway on Sunday, and they gave us like this ton of sanitizer. And so I am so excited to go in today and mix up that sanitizer. I can't wait to get there and mix that stuff up and give it a try. So, but listening to you all talk, it was really funny to me when it was time to open back up. And I kept trying to imagine how am I going to go in here and put this perm in people's hair and they have a mask on, but it works just fine. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Even if they have to hold it and just for a moment, it's like we figure it out. We're very inventive. And this industry will figure it out.
And the color too. You just put the color on and put and the mask is there, and it's everybody's safe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's just lift that little piece up, put that color.
Right. Get that hair up there.
We will figure it out. And that's what I'm encouraged by the fact that, this is an industry that we're not going to just sit and just like whine about it. We're going to figure it out. Like, how do we do this and how do we do it safely?
Yeah, that tickled me though. Once I really did it, it tickled me. I was like, oh, this works just fine. And put the color on and it might get a little bit on there, but oh well.
They
Better
don't
that.
mind.
Right, right. So, but
Yeah.
Ohio's always been a pretty strict state for sanitation and sterilization. So I
Mhm.
believe in my state, and I believe that, us being back and following all the right protocols that, we could, to continue to carry our businesses successfully.
Yes, I'm encouraged. I know we can do it. I know we can do it. I know we can do it. We've been trained for such a time as this. Like,
I,
this is
I,
no time for us.
I agree with you.
Mhm. Yeah, everything that we were taught from the very beginning, we just have to be intentional and we just have to do it because we know how to do it. We know how to keep people safe. And these additional recommendations, even though no state has actually put this into actual law yet, where it's mandated that we do these things, the fact that we are willing to do all the, take the necessary precautions, it just shows that we're prepared for this and we are essential workers. I keep going back to the fact that they deemed us non-essential. We are essential workers and we can do this.
No, I do. I was the one yesterday that asked how the nail salons are going because I
Mhm.
also am a nail tech as well. And
Mhm.
I've really just kind of been backing down on the nail services.
Mhm.
I don't feel totally secure with that yet. I'll work my way into it, but I'm really feeling this afraid of the nail services.
Yeah, I was a nail tech for 18 years, and I could understand the hesitation because you sit there and you're sitting face to face, and it is direct, directly in my face. But I'm thinking, these shields now, you go on these plastic shields. Maybe the client has their hand underneath the shield. There's ways to do this, or maybe they have on a face shield in addition to a mask, and you have on a face shield in addition to a mask. No talking, because a lot of times that would kind of stir up the air. So maybe no talking, but maybe you create an environment where it's nice and calm and serene, and encourage them to sit back and put their
Put
hands
your hand. Uh-huh.
the divider, and do the service. I think there's ways to do it. There's ways to do it, and I don't want us to shy away from figuring it out.
So yeah, I have the divider and I'm ready, but I've been very hesitant on the nail services.
Yeah, I understand it. Understand. Take your time, and that's the thing. A lot of people aren't ready to come back yet. Come back when you're ready. When you're ready. But I know we can do it. So if I can, we can continue to be cheerleaders for you. We absolutely will. Danielle, you want to chime in before Miss Jackie heads out?
Yes, I was so glad you asked that question yesterday on the call because I didn't realize we don't really hear a lot of updates from the nail salons. We've been, mainly talking about just like hairstyling, barbers, but I think that was a great question, and I'm glad that we were able to bring some attention to it and shed some light, because I think no matter what services you provide, it is a risk, but you want to be as comfortable and as confident when you do return back to work. And I really think that if you don't feel comfortable enough, then you should wait, maybe give it another week or a few weeks. But if you are ready to go, and like the other woman came on earlier, if you've already been practicing the proper sanitation and disinfecting after clients and cleaning your space properly, it's nothing really new. I mean, it may be more work, maybe less clients and more work, but I think that's the biggest start, is just making sure that we're keeping our salons and our nail salons, barbershops clean, sanitized. Someone had even posted, and I said I was going to order it. Matter of fact, I need to do that today. In one of the Facebook groups I'm in, she posted a link to a UV light where you can plug it in, and it even has a remote control, so you can set it to turn on while you're gone, to completely sanitize and disinfect your space while you're not there. So I think that as long as we take those proper precautions, we'll be fine.
Well, Jackie, Miss up in Ohio, thank you, Miss Jackie, for all you do for the industry. Thank you for being a part of this organization. Just thank you.
Thank you all too, and I'm learning a lot from you all. Participating.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We can do this together.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
How we win. This is how we win together.
Yes,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Yeah.
This is
All right,
awesome.
Jackie. Thank you. We'll see you soon.
Okay, thank you all too.
All righty.
Have a great day.
Here.
You all.
All right, Miss Danielle, we rocking and rolling this morning. I was hopeful that Texas would be able to chime in. They're having some connection issues, but Texas was one of those states where they fought to come back. Like, there was a woman
Yes.
at a salon who never did close, I don't believe. She
No, she stayed open.
and fought and was arrested and jailed, but was
Yes.
let out after a couple days or so. And now Texas is one of these states, and we've said this on our calls, that comes back with a vengeance. They don't convene, their legislature doesn't convene every year, they're every other year. So they didn't have a session, I don't believe this year, but they will be back. They will be back next year. And when they come back, I think it's the odd number of years when they're here, when they're open. And when they come back, Danielle, every time we track bills in Texas, I promise you, Texas comes back with a vengeance. It's always astronomical number of bills. And because I keep saying how this was is going to be fought in the state house and the courthouse, I can almost, I'm telling you, when they come back, they may take us down in the state of Texas. So those of you that are in the state of Texas, please join us. Please be a part of what we're doing. If you know any professionals that are in Texas, we got to really mount up. Like, we need a army of professionals to be a part of what we're doing in the state of Texas, We've always asked for 8 in each state, and that is totally our core. But we need as many professionals as we can to get on board. But 8 is the core of what we need. We need 2 estheticians, 2 nail techs, 2 barbers, 2 cosmetologists. We need a core 8 in every state. So as bills are introduced, we are able to connect with other states specific to the industry and really work together to figure out how to fight back. Every state is a battleground, but this is a war against our industry. So we need professionals across the country to be a part of what we're doing. If you haven't joined us, you taken a look at our website, it is on the screen. Take a look at it and join us and be a part of what we're doing. David Slavin is going to join us in just a few minutes. He's going to talk about, we've had protests and rioting across this country and looting, and the police are in a special place.
Oh yeah.
Police reform is on the agenda, on the miles of legislators across this country, and we gotta speak to that as an industry. And this is where we get involved with the social issues that are bigger than our industry. This is where they see that beauty and barber professionals are engaged, not just with our own industry, but what is happening nationally with the world, and where we can be a part of changing the landscape and all the things that are happening in this country. Danielle, what's your thoughts?
I absolutely agree. I mean, we have to be the change that we want to see. We can no longer sit back and say, okay, well, this person needs to do that, or what is this person doing? It's more so, what can I do to start making the changes in areas that need to be changed? Definitely in our industry, there's a lot of racial divide in our industry. There's, just in the beauty schools, the salons, and I think that these riots, these protests, is just really starting to expose. It's like the veil is being lifted on a lot of undercover racial undertones and situations, and we just can no longer turn a blind eye to them. We have to talk about it. We have to, and then decide what can you do to help make change.
Yeah. So we're going to bring David on. He comes on at the last 15 minutes. So in about 6 minutes, we'll have Mr. on. So let's see. We still have another state. Erica, let's see if Erica, I know Miss Kenya is there. Let's see. Kenya in Alabama. Miss Kenya, let's see. There you are. Good morning,
Miss Kenya.
Can you hear us? She's freezing. You're frozen. Can you hear us, Miss Kenya? We don't have any sound. You can hear us, but we can't hear you. Can you hear us? Do me a favor and log out and log back in and see if that works. Do that. Log out and log back in, Miss Kenya. We definitely want that update from Alabama. Okay, she'll be back in just a second. Let's get her to log in.
Okay, hopefully she can come on. I don't know why we're having such connection problems.
I know. We have Erica in California. California.
All right, Callie.
Callie in the house.
Yes.
How are you,
Callie in the house. Hi, ladies.
Good morning.
Good to be on the show today.
Yeah. What's going on in California with the industry? How are y'all doing over there?
Oh my gosh, I am so excited to be at work. As you can see, I'm doing heads right now. But the crazy thing about California is that they have not opened up the nail salons. So that is a big thing here. The nail salons, anything that has to do with makeup, anything that has to do with waxing, anything like that, they are still not open. And everybody is wondering, like, why. My nail tech friends and associates, they're kind of pissed right now because they don't know why. I can give speculations on why, as far as what I know from state board. I know that a lot of the salons were having people that, well, a lot of the beauty schools, I'm sorry, not the salons, but the beauty schools were they were taking money for hours. And so they had to close down a heavy number of beauty schools. And so I'm thinking that they're trying to find out where those people are, what salons they were in. Are they the ones that were spreading the viruses? So I could just speculate that might be the issue on why they haven't opened them up. And they want to do more of a full investigation on what's going on in the salons out here in California.
Wow.
The nail
Wow.
salon, shall I say. Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, yes,
Wow.
yes.
But that's still good to know. Unfortunately, they won't write that up and put it in an article
Oh no, that's
to
not going to be in
circulate.
the article. That's just from little old me, just from working at state board. But that is probably what the issue is for here.
It's a deep dive into some other things that's going on in the industry, and an opportune time to do it.
Yes.
Mm.
Also, I noticed that I'm working with NACAs as well, and NACAs is the organization that goes into the schools and makes sure that they are providing the students with what they need. And it seems as if I'm just looking at my notes. A lot of the schools are requesting distant learning, so they're going to want to start doing online classes. A lot of these schools are wanting to adopt that. They want to do online classes and then do maybe a percentage of it, in-house. So they really are for this distant learning when it comes to the beauty schools.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll have to talk about that as an organization. We should probably talk about, like, what that means when you are now learning from home and what that looks like. 'Cause
I don't see a problem with the distance learning, but at some point you're going to have that hands-on. And I suggest, a lot of the doctors, nurses, they go straight into the hospitals and start doing their hands-on. I would suggest that the beauty students do the same thing because they are able to get a real feel of what the salon is about. Especially if they're working under good people that are, you know, abiding by the rules and stuff like that. I think that would come out ideal for them to work in the salons, getting those hands-on hours, and then doing the distance learnings in school. I just feel like it's already a work in progress, like I said, with the doctors and the nurses. So I don't see why that wouldn't be a bad idea as well. Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you, Erica, and I'm glad that you're back to work. I can see that big smile on your face, like, I am back. You are back. Yeah.
I love you, Tamara, for what you're doing. I just love this organization. I love being a part of it. If I can be any help, please call me. Like you say, I'm here working, but I'm still here.
Thank you, Erica.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and thank you for all you do and representing this industry the way you do. Thank you, Erica Styles. I see that T-shirt. T-shirt
Yes,
next time. Erica Styles.
Yes.
Hey, girl. All right, Erica. We'll see you soon.
Okay.
Thank you so much,
Bye-bye.
Erica. Thank you.
All right. We have Miss Kenya in Alabama. Then we're gonna bring on Mr. David. Miss Kenya, we got some sound.
Hey, do we?
Do we? Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear Miss Kenya. How are you?
Yes. Good. How are you ladies doing this morning?
Doing good.
Good.
That
How's
is good.
Alabama? What's an update over there? How are you guys doing over there?
Well, we're still trying to get used to this new normal. Of course, we came into the salons. I came into my salon on May the 13th, and I've been working and trying to get a groove on getting the clients in, making sure that I only have one client in at a time because, of course, I'm in a suite setting. And I was listening to you all earlier, in a suite setting, sometimes it's impossible to make sure that your clients are 6 feet apart. So I've taken the stance to go ahead and just do one client at a time. So of course, in between those clients, you have to sanitize and disinfect. But of course, with the death of Mr. Floyd, Alabama went into a curfew. Well, the city of Birmingham we were put on a curfew. So of course that shortened our days. So basically, one of my main concerns was the fact of trying to see how I can still get the same amount of clients that I was getting in before and making the money that I was making, but with the shortage on the time that we can work, it's like I was telling my client earlier, I said sometimes you want to look around the corner and say, like, am I being punked? You know, it's like it's something new every day. But I choose to be the one that stick with it. You know, with everything there's change. Change is inevitable. So I'm just going to try to continue to do what I can do to make sure that my clients are safe, that I'm safe, and pretty much follow the law.
Danielle.
I'm sorry, say it again, Tamara.
If you want to chime in right there.
Okay. I just wanted to say kudos to you, Miss Kenya, for sticking with it. I know this is I mean, we're not open yet in my county. And, you know, even for me, I still wonder, do I want to go back to work wearing, you know, face shields? And, you know, I've seen some stylists that are wearing like garbage bags on top of their aprons and smocks. I mean, it definitely is a new normal. And I just appreciate your honesty and just really sharing with us the pros and the cons, you know. I really do appreciate you sharing that with us, because it's definitely going to be a change for all of us, even the ones that decide not to return behind the chair. I mean, this is a new, you know, it's a new chapter, you know, for them as well.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Kenya, for all you do, and thank you for an update over in Alabama.
Yes.
We appreciate you, and thank you for being a part of this organization.
Thank you.
I appreciate you for allowing me to be a part of this organization. Like the lady before said, I'm learning a lot, and I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Tamara's awesome.
How we win, guys.
Yes.
How we win. Yes.
Yes.
We know you're going to get back to work. We're going to bring Mr. David on to talk about what's going on with this world we're living in and this industry that we're working.
Thank you.
Have a great day, Miss Kenya.
Yes, ma'am. You too, Nathaniel.
Bye-bye.
Y'all have a good one.
You too.
Bye-bye.
All right, let's see where Mr. David is. Let's see. David.
Hi.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
David, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. How about you guys?
We're doing good. We're doing good. Let me figure out how to, I was trying to figure out how to do this, but it doesn't look like any other screen works. We'll stick with this one. So Mr. David talks to us about race, racism, and race relations. We bring it home to our industry. We're talking about what's going on here in America, these police, this rioting, the looting. David, what's your
well, I wouldn't emphasize rioting and looting. I think that's been you know, a talking point for the right for Trump and the right wing. Most of these demonstrations have been incredibly peaceful given the provocation, and they have gradually surprise, as they've withdrawn the police, as they have pulled, as the authorities have pulled back, have lifted the curfews, the demonstrations have become more peaceful. So what does that tell you? I think what it says is that there's it's a convincing argument that the police presence actually creates more problems than it solves. And for people who were protesting against violent repression by the police, to have the response be violent repression by the police just is it's beginning to reveal the absurdity of this situation that we're facing. So that's just something. I mean, I wanted to suggest that this discussion that we're having that political debate that's going on, a policy debate about defunding the police, is very interesting, opening for a reassessment of the whole criminal justice system in this country, and I think that's a place where we can um, uh, maybe have a conversation that connects the racial and class basis of criminal justice in this country, because it seems to me that the police are just the the I don't want to call it the tip of the spear or anything like that. They are one leg of a or one pillar of the foundation of the criminal justice system that is really heavily uh, uh, not just racially uh, biased and oppressive, but also in terms of class, it's oppressive, and we really need to think about the relationship between the two. Um, you know, uh, joke about the criminal justice system is it's just us, that line. But that's not just about just us white people. It's also just us in the sense of who can afford uh, the protections of the law. In other words, the rights of trial by jury, of being able to mount a proper defense, um, and if you're accused of a crime. Um, so I really think that the whole system. I mean, just think about public defenders and versus district attorneys. The amount of resources that district attorneys have to prosecute crimes versus that of public defenders who are so overworked that in some places I can't remember. I think it was Houston and New Orleans actually went on strike because they couldn't handle the client load, and they couldn't mount a proper defense. So one of the things that means is that the only people who are going to get a proper defense are people who can pay private attorneys, and that is certainly a major problem for people of color, and particularly African Americans and those who have to rely on public defenders. But it's also true of working class whites as well. Um, so we're put in a situation where um, uh, there's so much inequality and in the criminal justice system across the board, that it's really it's not just the police is what I'm suggesting, that we and what I'm suggesting is really the issue here. And I think that these demonstrations are really changing the world. I mean, there's no doubt that this is just absolutely massive. No, we haven't seen anything like this in more than a generation.
David, what I've seen, I saw a video that was sent to me, and these demonstrations were in every looked like on every continent, like everywhere across
Yeah,
the country. This thing has exploded
yeah,
across the world. I mean, literally.
yeah. And not only that, there are demonstrations in in small cities and uh, areas that have never been touched by this kind of activism, um, or not for years. So where and not only that, but groups like I think it's called Project Zero and Black Lives Matter. I mean, they've been doing research since Ferguson, 6 years or more. They've been tracking, what's going on. And one of the things that's happened is that there has been a sharp decline in police brutality in the major cities, in the police forces of major cities, because that's where body cameras are in use, where people are the civilian. Um, that's another thing, militarization of the police. But citizens are so alert now that it's very difficult for police to engage in that kind of acts of impunity. But one of the things that I forget his name is DeRay McKesson, and he is one of the people who has been really in the forefront of this Project Zero and in the leadership of Black Lives Matter since Ferguson. And I heard him on a interview last night or night before, where he was mentioning that the as the decline has happened in the number of incidents in major metropolitan areas, and as there have been shifts in training for police officers in those areas, there has been a rise in rural and suburban police brutality, which is really, really, significant and interesting, and may explain why there are protests that are happening, not just in the major cities, but in places across the country. So that's really an important, part of the picture. It's getting better in some places and getting worse in others, and so I think that's important to keep in mind. The question of, and the other part of it is that he mentioned, DeRay McKesson mentioned that every time we do some kind of reform for the police, it just ends up, going back. It kind of snaps back into the default. So of the police seeing themselves as an occupying force, particularly in Black communities, and in other non-white communities, and the so training, body cameras, all of these things have made some difference, but it seems like the resistance, there's a culture in there, pattern of behavior that just doesn't seem to be tractable to reform, and that's why the defund the police. I mean, look at what Minneapolis is doing. That comes on the heels of Stockton, California, and Camden, New Jersey. Camden, New Jersey, I think 2 or 3 years ago, just literally dismissed its entire police force. And this is the model now. It isn't perfect, but they made every officer in their police department reapply for their jobs. And that was a way. The only way that they could do that was because the reason that they had to do that was because the police unions have these labor contracts that make it almost impossible to fire an officer for violations of human rights, civil and human rights. And so the police officers are hiding behind labor contracts, in effect, and the labor movement as a whole is really ambivalent, about whether or not to support these police unions, because they want to protect contracts, and they're perfectly right to do that. But these police unions are really powerful, and they're very they provide they're part of larger, labor unions, international labor unions, and they provide dues and they have influence both politically outside of the unions and inside of the unions themselves. So all of that makes this a complicated issue that I think hats off to the people who are working on it. Philip Ativa Goff in the John Jay College of Criminal Justice in New York. He gave a soliloquy last night on one of the MSNBC shows. I was just blown away by his clarity of thinking. So that's another Goff, Goff is his last name.
We're at the top of the hour. We love. I'm telling you, David, you have a fan club.
Well, there's a lot more to discuss about this. I know we have to end, but there's so much more about plea bargaining, about confidential informants, and the whole way that the system operates is so awful. It's just so destructive that 95% of felonies are resolved by plea bargaining. There's no right to a trial by jury. So those are all things I think we really need to hold in our minds as we think about this issue about police brutality. In the general mix of our.
Well, that's why we bring you back. That's why we want to bring you back, David, so you can continue to give us insight. Beauty and barber professionals, we get stuck behind our chairs.
Yeah.
World, and sometimes having insight into these issues that affect all of us right here in this country. And right now, on the heels of this political unrest, it's imperative that beauty and barber professionals are engaged with what is happening and having conversations with some real solutions. So, David, please join us again. We love you here. So give us 15 minutes of your time every Tuesday to give us an update. Danielle?
Yes, I agree. I mean, you just always bring some amazing facts and a lot of information, so it's always a pleasure to be on these lives with you, because I agree. I was also thinking, just as you touched on it, there should be more accountability. With these officers, they should be held accountable for their actions. And you just nailed it right on the head. So
David, can we have you back? Can you come back next week and continue to talk about the issues with us?
Okay. All right.
That's right. You got to make time for us. Put us on your schedule.
All right.
Thank you. I really appreciate your what you're doing here, and I mean it's really important for working people to get together and communicate with each other, and give each other support and solidarity. It's really important. So you're doing the good work.
You're doing the good work. Yes. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We will be back next Tuesday, same time, 11 a.m. Eastern. You can find us at politicsbeautybarber.org. If you're not a member, join us. Be a part of what we need. Advocates in every state to make sure that we're protecting and protecting our entire industry. David, thank you for joining us. Danielle, see you next week. See you next week.
Take care, everybody.
Thank you so much. That's right. Power to the people. That's right. Yes. Have a